Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Today, this goes to Peter Hegseth, Secretary of Defense. We sent him a document exposing the fact about the Department of Defense being on the American National Standards Institute, American National Crediting Board. They gave us a number when I went down to the Pentagon, and I saw they had an LEED certification emblem on the visitor center. I already knew we had a problem because that was developed and designed by ANSI-ANAB for an organization that issued this. So you had all Chinese infiltration of the DOD, which is going on that property there. I felt they should be hanging the red communist flag up there. And here we go. This today is about urgent federal conflict of interest, violations, foreign data risks, and also regulatory capture via the American National Standards Institute, the American National Crediting Board. Now, I sent him a booklet. They sent me back a complaint document with a number. I went down there. I was already in Washington, going to go to the Kelly Oberg Inquisition between Ted Cruz and Maria Cantwell. I went to the Pentagon, and I basically said, wait out by the fence. Nobody came for an hour. So I already knew I was in Peking, China. And there it goes. Dear Honorable Peter Hegseth, I write to you because with urgency and grave concern over a dangerous chain of negligence that has led to the erosion of our regulatory oversight, national security, and constitutional accountability. Central to this breakdown are the American National Standards Institute, ANSI, and the American National Crediting Board, ANAB. Both private entities whose entanglements with federal agencies and foreign powers have created a catastrophic vulnerability in U.S. governance, conflict of interest, and compensation violations. Between 2015 and 21, Mr. Phil Matheson, Standards Director for the Department of Homeland Security, served as a member and contributor to ANSI and ANAB, while simultaneously receiving $262,000 from them in addition to his federal salary. Similarly, Mr. Gordon Gillerman of the Department of Commerce, specifically the National Institute of Standards and Technology, received $120,000 from ANSI-ANAB while maintaining his federal salary. This is not allegations. They are documented facts. If either individual has since been reassigned or shielded through bureaucratic maneuvering, let this serve as a formal notice that we retain documents and control. The damage done between 2015 and 21 is already complete, Peter, and that is, we gave our data away. Foreign espionage by design, not hacking. The most damning evidence is that ANSI and ANAB are founders and legal underwriters of the International Accreditation Forum. Their sister organization, IAF, is in the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation in Australia, which means that they are responsible, ANSI and ANAB are responsible for any systematic or product failure from those national and international accreditation bodies that sit on the IAF and ILAC, who are equivalent to ANSI-ANAB accreditation, while ANSI and ANAB, as I said, were underwriters. Between 2015 and 21, the IAF was chaired by Zhao Jinwu, a Chinese Communist national and the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services, CNAS, in Beijing. Mr. Zhao was bound by China's National Intelligence Law, Article Number 7, which requires all citizens and organizations to support, assist, and cooperate with state intelligence work. This was not cyber espionage. It was a direct pipeline of information via American accredited bodies to a foreign adversary. During Mr. Zhao's tenure, who had been involved with our quality since 1994, the Wuhan Institute of Virology, WIV, was certified by the CNAS. Internal scientists at the WIV had already raised concerns prior to the certification that the lab lacked enough trained technicians to safely operate a Bio-Level 4 laboratory. Yet, the certification moved forward under Mr. Zhao in January 2017. After certification, a team of scientists visited the facility from the United States and again raised serious concerns about the lack of qualified staff to safely manage biohazardous material. Compounding the crisis and actually corroborating this issue was Pamela Saya, then the Vice President of Laboratory Accreditation for ANSI-ANAB, testified under oath. One of the issues is that there's no commonly agreed upon set of standards that forensic labs around the country have to follow. Instead, there are informal guidelines that labs can choose to follow or not. In essence, she admitted on the record that there are no enforceable systems of standards. The COVID-19 pandemic was not an accident in procedural failure. It was an inevitable result of systematic deregulation and accreditation theater. U.S. Department of Defense precipitation. That's right, Peter. You weren't there, but you were there. You were more than likely in the service then. Even more troubling is the Department of Defense direct involvement as a member of ANSI-ANAB. During this window of foreign control, the DOD remains involved to this day. As of this writing, every organization to whom this letter is addressed, DOJ, DHS, DOC, DOD, and the FBI, is still a member or customer of ANSI-ANAB, and thereby remains entangled in a structure that undermines national sovereignty. And I give a list of the violations, regulatory violations in the federal arena that this all comes under. The Manufacturing Extension Partnership, MEP, fraud. The Department of Commerce Manufacturing Extension Partnership Program, which is in 50 states, has become a slush fund. More than 64.85% of its state and federal funds go to executive bonuses and overhead, not to actual assistance for U.S. manufacturers. This is unacceptable and a clear abuse of public trust. The next is FDA's third-party recognition disaster. In 2018, the FDA gave ANSI and ANAB third-party recognition to oversee food safety. Since then, the U.S. has faced waves of recalls, unsafe product incidents, providing that this delegation of authority was not only ineffective but negligent. Final crescendo. Let me be blunt, Peter. Please let me be blunt. It is nearly impossible for government agencies to investigate themselves, and the American public has paid their price. I have witnessed and seen this firsthand myself, whether at the Boeing whistleblower hearings on April 17, 2024, the David Calhoun, the former CEO, but at that time he still was a CEO of Boeing, a testimony on June 18, 2024, or the most recent where I was at, the Kelly Oberg session on April 2nd, 2025. The pattern is clear. Accountability is a performance, not a principle. Back in 2017, when FBI Director Christopher Wray, who President Trump, promoted to the FBI directorship back then on his first term, warned about Chinese infiltration to different types of what were they? They were Senate and congressional hearings about Chinese infiltration. He warned about Chinese infiltration during those. He failed to mention that his own agency was sitting on ANSI-ANAB during the exact time China chaired the IAF. The Federal Bureau of Investigation was in a position of partnership with China Communist-controlled Forum, and I laughed bitterly as I watched him testify. This is not a partisan issue, Peter. It is a national security emergency. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Hegseth, I have been exposing this longer than the Department of Government Efficiency. If you truly want to break open this piñata of corruption, foreign compromise, and regulatory fraud, you need only look at the American National Standards Institute and the American National Crediting Board, both of which remain packed with federal agencies and national corporations. That is where Elon Musk and anyone serious about restoring accountability should be putting their efforts. I look forward to getting back to me. I have all corroborating materials to support all mentioned in this letter. Sincerely, Daryl Guberman. And I will say this. This is what went on. And by the way, when I went down to the Pentagon and they sent me outside to wait for an hour, about a week after I got back, I got this refusal letter back. You did not, what did it say? It said, please note the complaint number in our system does not match acknowledgement letter, unique identifier ID. That's where Elon Musk should go to, the DOD. I had it all. I walked up with the actual complaint, wanted to see somebody at the Pentagon. I was already there April 2nd. Did you hear from them? Peter, you have to get your ship shape right now, because you want to be America strong, Army strong, warrior strong, you got to get your people in line as well. 203-556-1493. Please leave all your information that you want, ladies and gentlemen, in the comments below, and I thank you.